ideology has been talking about. Oftentimes you hear people talk about that is having an ideology. And at times some of you get swayed by that rhetoric. And you begin also asking yourself, we really have a philosophy, we have an ideology.
Stand here. Stand.
Those of you have the Constitution, it goes straight to Article 6.
Stand.
All what Dr. BESIGYE has been talking about is enshrined in Article 6 of our party constitution here. The benefit of those who do not have copies, just take this little time. That is the goal and objectives. Specifically paragraph G. Look at paragraph G of Article 7. The mission of the FDC is to act as a platform to promote democracy, good governance, constitutionalism, and rule of law. As simple as that. That's how it is articulated. Rather, it is, yes, well coached in those terms in Article 7. The vision is in Article 6. The mission is in Article 7. Then what is also critical are the values. The values, what are the values of the party? You go to Article 8. That is the guiding principles. I'll not waste a lot of your time, just look at B, 8B, the values. Democracy, social justice, good governance, transparency, accountability, honesty, and integrity. Having addressed our minds to those three key elements, one, the vision, the mission, and the values. Now it's time for us to assess ourselves. The situation analysis we have to make. The goings on within the party, especially at Najanamfu. Are we on course? Are we in line with the vision? As far as the FDC at Najanamfu is concerned, I'm talking about that state of affairs. Are we in tandem in our operations with the dictates of Article 7, making the FDC a platform for the struggle for liberation, rule of law, good governance, and so on and so forth, and also the values. We need to come up with a judgment on that, which I'm sure you all know about. I'll end that particular segment on making references to these instruments with this strategic plan. Of course, we have the leap forward, which was initiated during the regime of General Mugisha Muntu. Now, under the leadership of POA, we came up with this strategic plan. And it's important. The third strategic plan, 2022-2027. In his speech, you heard Dr. BESIGYE talking about the radar. The radar that anchors the ship. We have a strategic plan for 5 years. 2022. You recall the date we launched this? You recall the date? You see, the challenge we have, we are good at making beautiful instruments like this. Before the ink dries, they are shelved. This was 24th December, the National Council. November. At that National Council at the party headquarters. You recall very well at that function, we all were there, we took pictures and But if you are to open it, some people may run away. May disown what they stated here. I'll start with the party president then. Underline it there. You remember the party president who was there? Yes, he's here. Here he is in this document. And just excerpt from what he said. We are therefore fully aware that there is no functioning multi-party democracy in our country. No free and fair elections. No power in the people's hands. And no respect for the people's choices, including getting leaders they want and deserve. Then he concluded by stating, this is the preamble he gave. It is against that background that we have worked out this strategic plan focused on rebuilding FDC into a revolutionary party that will ably engage and face the challenges of the ongoing struggle for a democratic transition to a new Uganda. There are two key words here, a revolutionary party and the transition. That we are focused on rebuilding. The word actually is rebuilding the FDC into a revolutionary party committed to the cause for transition. Then who follows next? After him, the former SG here. What did he say? In black and white. This strategic plan also affirms the ideology of the party as centered on farmers, workers, middle class, guided by social democracy principles. Are we social democrats? No. That is subject to debate. Whether we are center-right or what. Anyway, that's what the former ACP said. That's not important for me now. But this is what he said. Now, let me go back here. The FDC, are we together? The FDC shall use mass civil activism as a tool for mobilization of party members, supporters, and Ugandans to defy acts of dictatorship, human rights abuses and violations, and corruption, oppression against citizens through non-cooperation with the junta, non-violent protests and demonstrations. Signed, Nathan Nandala Mafari, Secretary. This is what he said himself.
Somebody wrote it for him.
That the operative words here, mass civil activism, the FDC shall use mass civil activism as a tool for mobilization of party members, defy acts of dictatorship, human rights abuses, violation, oppression, and so on and so forth. Then mobilize the citizens through non-cooperation with the junta, non-violent protests, and demonstrations. This is what our brother put here in this strategic plan. Now, the totality of these instruments, the references I've made to in the Constitution, the strategic plan, the leaf forward, bring out that political element which anchors our ideology. Dr. BESIGYE has been talking about here. And it is one thing we have seen time and again, that is defiance as being the strategy we adopted as a party. Now it's one thing which is well documented here, which is anchored within the history and the fabric of the party, and our colleagues are using it against us and against themselves. So where we are right now, because I was asked to assess the situation, is the FDC today at Najanankum towing that line? Yes? That's why you heard Dr. BESIGYE was talking about the language now is that of a stamp, as opposed to the tools for liberation, tool for the struggle against the junta. So that is the analysis. And that's what has marked the departure we are having. And that's why you had to take a firm stance and say you have since digressed from the mission, the vision, and the ideals of our forefathers, of the people who started this mighty institution. So if you have these instruments guiding you that as your compass, take this particular direction, and you are a ship and you are taking another, totally, actually an opposite direction, can we follow you? No. So that's where we are. So the choice is yours. It is the reason on the 19th day of September, members who assembled at Kasponga, after being driven away from the original venue at Nature's Green, where we were going to be hosted by the chairman, made a firm stance, took a firm stance on this matter and said, Nanda, Poa, Ekanya, step aside. Nothing personal, nothing tribal, nothing sentimental. There are those who have tribalized this, who are talking of the East. When FDC was being founded, did you look at the brand, or did you focus on where it's going to be anchored, the region? Was that the vision or the mission of the FDC? That as far as we are concerned, the FDC should be based in Western Uganda, or should be based in Eastern Uganda, or Central region, or whatever. You are lost the ship if you take that direction. And it's the reason some of us are not going to work on this, because we are guided by these instruments. We are guided by that wisdom. We are guided by those ideals. And that's why some of us are found. No matter the intimidation, no matter the grades, no matter the accusation, the propaganda Dr. BESIGYE has been to hell that. Nothing is going to distract us. As long as I'm convinced, are you persuaded, are you convinced about this ideology, the ideas, the vision, the mission? If you are clear on that, why Kanga? Well, so that is the situation. We are given the mandate now to realign the party to its original mission as the interim leadership. On the 19th day of September at Katonga, the delegates who assembled, realizing that actually the then leadership had veered off this campus, had veered off the tangent, they said, Honorable Salam Musumba here talked about the people who have died in the struggle. The list is very long. We know the challenges they went through. Time and again, every time I've got another topic to speak about this, I know people who died in my own hands. Amongst them, I have always mentioned Dr. Sulaiman Chuku. There came a time when I was the only lawyer left for Dr. Sulaiman Chuku, up to the time of his death. Single-handedly like this. And I joined the legal team only in 1999 when I just finished school. He had very senior lawyers. Along the way, they abandoned him. And we had to go all up to the end. That time, even before he joined the FDC, people abandoned him completely. He died a very bitter heart. And I've always promised you, and I've asked you, those of you who want to get a dossier Dr. Chuku wrote and presented before court, before Catherine Mugemerire, before Othembi, before Margaret Tikulia, before all those judges and magistrates who appeared, defending himself. If you want to get literature on how information, first-hand information on how the seven brought down Dr. Sulaiman Chuku's, the Museveni family, Museveni himself, with his brothers, particularly General Salim Saleh, his son Muhoozi, Jovial Saleh, and a couple of others, how they brought down Chikuru's empire. I have all that literature. And his hope was that the FDC will kick away this family and restore these assets to Ugandans. Today, you have heard of how Museveni is planning now to bail out Itature. With how much? 268 billion Itature. Rocco, how much? Another 240 billion. Rocco, and so many others. I don't know how much they are going to use to reput to handle Aya and so on and so forth. But Chikundu's empire collapsed. Just like that. And the perpetrators around the town. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was, I just wanted to highlight that briefly. But going back to the situation analysis. The situation analysis. A number of people whom I mentioned suffered during that struggle Dr. Subeti, Honorable Salam Musumba here has been talking about. During the PRA days and how we fought and fought and fought. My brother here, Katinda, will tell you. I'll just mention one case of his brother, Mori. Until he was killed in Rwanda. Not Rwanda. How we struggled to get orders to get him out of jail, out of safe houses. Eventually, we arranged for his exit, and when he fled, they captured him, killed him. And many others. Dr. Mr. here is talking, but his heart is bleeding. He's bleeding. When in South Africa, his brother dies. And a couple, so many actors who lost their lives. I was one of the lawyers for ERA suspects. Many of them. Those of you from Teso, you know my brother Okiling. I've always talked about Okiling. Yes, you are from Amuri. His body is there in Itoroma. He's lying there in the grave there in Itoroma. But you go and dig and look at the history of Okiling and what he did for this part. His contribution to the struggle, the sacrifices people made. It's the reason we shall not allow anyone to harvest people's blood. We cannot allow that. It pains. It pains. They are engaged in character assassination. That BESIGYE is witch hunting them. That BESIGYE is doing ABCD. He hates them. Oh my God. It's very, 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 very absurd. We're not going to allow this. And it's not going to this way. So we're not going this way. So whoever is there masterminding propaganda is masterminding that idle talk, thinking that one day it will work on our side. You are just deceiving yourself. You are indulging in self-delusion. It's not going to happen. And it's my call to you that people, colleagues, don't get in any way dissuaded or driven away from the cause. That is the gist of the situation I wanted to present to you. The rest is well known to you because you have been active participants in all these processes. The investigations that were conducted after the 2021 elections, the processes of the Nabuiso Committee, what we have gone through, all those, I don't want to repeat what we have gone. I just wanted to highlight those few aspects of that journey up to the 19th day of September when pronouncements were made against that background, that solid background, which is well known to you, and decisions were made. That's why for us we are convinced that we have to push that agenda all through. We are given 6 months and we are working around the clock. We have had council sittings, NEC meetings have been conducted in that part, along those lines, that particular direction, to implement those resolutions. Against all odds, of course. The tide against us, you know that. Definitely. That meeting of 19, the highlight of it, because we were thinking on how the Honorable Salam was telling you, how she was a target of abduction, how she pitched the camp somewhere, also coordinating certain activities. And for you, just if so events unfolding, you didn't know how they were being worked on, and how the chairman here had to jump over the fence miraculously, and the role played by the Honorable Mujushes here and everybody. So I salute all of you, the actors, in this struggle. And finally, we had the delegates conference. Those people, we explained to you the events preceding that, because there were attempts also to block it. We explained to you, and people, some of you have been made to think that actually we defied the court order, whereas not. They did not extract a new court order for 18. In law, a court order, an interim order, as per the rules, lasts for only 3 days. If it's granted ex parte, if it's inter partes, where both parties appear before the tribunal, the judge or court, and you argue out the case, and it's granted after hearing both sides, there it can continue endlessly up to the end of the case. But if it's granted ex parte, without hearing the other party, the rules are very clear. Only 3 days. The first interim order, which was granted pursuant to proxy suits, because it was Nanda Araboa and the team who filed this case through proxies. It was on the 25th D. That was a Friday. It was a Friday, 25th September. And by operation of law, it was meant to last for only 3 days. That one, we confirmed. So on the 28th day, Monday, when we appeared there, they told us they hadn't added, the chairman and the judge said no, blah, blah, blah. They did not extract a new order to be served on us. And that's how we ended up proceeding with our meeting the following day. And the court adjourned the application on the 28th day to 4th October. And when they appeared before Justice Esther Nambayo on that day, 4th October, she told them that, no, You are here to stop a meeting which took place on 19. Your application is overtaken by events. That's what happened. Our lead counsel in these matters, Counsel Tukume here, went there, checked the record, and indeed confirmed that the judge closed the file and told them I cannot proceed to stop a meeting which has already taken place. Indeed, even if we had not gone ahead with the application to stop the one of 60th, which Justice Sekana bangled up, it would be okay. There would be no problem. Because no order has been issued to vitiate or nullify the resolutions that we took on the 19th day of September. There is no court order. Stop nullifying those particular resolutions. So that's what we resolved, and that's what is obtained. Coming to the events of 60th at Ipatida, indeed it's true we went to court to seek for an order to stop that meeting. But of course, there was a lot of underhand dealings there, which I don't want to delve into right now, resulting into the dismissal of our application. When we appeared before the judge, he said, you come at immediately. But we ushered into his chambers at around 3 p.m. And he gave us only 20 minutes to submit. After the submission, he said, I will give you the ruling on email before close of business today. We waited. Court hours, court business ends at 5. So 5, there was nothing. 6, 7. For me, I went to bed at 11. And the ruling hadn't been given. Because I waited and waited and waited. I had had a long day in court. So only to wake up the following morning on the 16th, that he had delivered the ruling past midnight. I said, which nocturnal judge is this? When everybody has gone to sleep, the judge is writing the ruling and delivering it. And I've heard people talk of a ruling of 60. 50. It was not there with 50. It was 60 early in the morning when he delivered it. And the beauty with the manipulation of laws, you will never make it perfect. The beauty with it, you'll never be perfect. So what the judge did was to say that this matter was brought in bad faith because these people came very late. Why didn't they challenge it earlier? We told him no. There was a reason. Because initially, what had been published in the gazette, in the papers, was a notice signed by Dr. Lebuka Bamwe as a de facto Chief Electoral Commission of the party. And for us, we had looked at the provisions of the Constitution and said, Article 28 is very clear. Who convenes the National Delegates Conference is the National Chairman. It's the one to preside over the same. So this delegates conference of 60, initially it wasn't actually party. They had talked of UMA, and we knew it would not happen because UMA by that time would be hosting the trade fair. Along the way they changed it to Popopo, and of course I knew even Popopo did not take place. I know the position they have taken about political meetings. Popopo will not be allowed to host a political meeting there. So they ended up in it. But now the judge says, why did you have to come late? But we said initially, for us, we are not aware of what we were processing as far as this issue of the meeting was concerned. Initially, they had actually indicated it would take place on 23rd and 24th of November, but they just brought it forward to 60th. So, to cut the long story short, what we achieved out of that process, they had to fidget. Because once we filed the application to stop the meeting, we kept on getting the intelligence information that actually we were having sleepless nights, think around with the processes, and they ended up making an old man displacing himself. That is Mukala's Chibuka. That actually they forged a notice, because now they realized it was game over. The constitutional provision is very clear, Article 27, 28, very clear. National chairman convened the delegates conference. Nobody else. So they said, how do we get out of this trap? So they decided to forge that document and backdate it. 27th June, that's when Mukalas had signed it. Luckily enough, we have a platform to make members. On that very day, we went on the record. The chairman here, the vice here, all of us were on that make platform WhatsApp group. Mukalas had posted on that very day that colleagues pray for me. I'm in Nairobi. I'm undergoing an operation, Nairobi Hospital. I'm undergoing an operation. And he was in Nairobi. 27th. That is the day he signed the notice. When our brother Nanda was put to task to explain, he started boasting in his usual style. Hey, these people think I'm very poor, I cannot afford a flight to go to Nairobi and take the notice for the vice chairperson to sign. Can you imagine? The chairperson was in the country. Okay, but Teterebuka Bamwenda had lied in court that he had prepared a notice for him to sign and he had declined, which was a lie. But the vice was there. Honorable Salam Musumba was in the country. Honorable Kajida was in the country, vice. And also the vice from northern Uganda. They were all around. Why do you have to fly to Nairobi for a one Mukala Zichibuka to sign? Why I'm raising this? Those of you are touting this ruling of Sekana to say to cleanse all of you. Fraud is a fraud, you know it even in your heart that you perpetrated the fraud. So whoever associates himself or yourself with that fraud, you know actually you're committing an offense against your own conscience. No. That court order did not clear that meeting. No. Nowhere did Justice Sekana say that actually that notice was valid. The one signed by Chibuka. No. It is not there in the ruling. Nowhere did he say that actually the chairman he declined to sign. And so on and so forth. It's the reason now, as NEG we have resolved, we have to pursue that case up. It was not resolved, we resolved. It wasn't decided on merit. We have resolved to pursue it on merit. We want that old man Mukalas to stand in the dock and defend that fraud. We are going to pursue it. We are not going to relent on that. This is the assurance I'm giving you. We are pursuing it because the main case is there. The application was that for the time being, temporarily halt the particular meeting as we pursue the case to decide on the legality or illegality of that particular meeting. If that case is still pending, all we have asked for that now it should go before an impartial judge. Because Sekana has already indicated his side. We don't want him in that case. Because the law allows to apply for recusal. So we are going to do that. So that's one way, but that is because I was asked about the roadmap. In the delegates conference of 19, we are tasked as the interim leadership to pursue those legal matters. Our leading council in this was assembled a very, very formidable team. Council Tukume Moses here. In my language, we say Zinat. Let's leave it at that for the time being. As we pursue that line, the struggle continues.
One Uganda, one people.
So as NEC, we have rolled out a program. It's two-pronged. One, for elections to continue, because the resolutions of 19th September have not been nullified. And we have resolved that our roadmap will continue. Unfortunately, our brother who is in charge of that process, the Honorable KAIJA, is indisposed. He has not been able to be with us this afternoon. But the roadmap is there. You are going to look at it, leading up to the Delegates Conference of 15th March. So all arrangements are underway. We are pursuing that program. But in between, before we go for the structure, for the election of the structures at a lower level, we are going to have outreach programs again. And in NEC, we agreed that we commence this program of the outreach early in November. That is next week. Professor Wangola, we are starting with Ginger. And the people from Ginger get prepared from this meeting. We have to go when we know the details of the program. Because if it is a rocket, it starts with a big bang. Is that also a big bang?
Yeah.
So the rocket, as it buzzes off, the fire has to be at 100%. Full throttle, exactly. So we are starting on that day, which will give us. For us, the calendar is November, December outreach program. Grassroots elections will be in January, all through up to the delegates conference in March. What we fixed as the date for the delegates conference is 15. But for now, you will be telling us the program from all your regions as and when you are ready. You will tell us that our region, for us, we are ready, we are not ready, we give us this time, we shall do ABCD, and so on and so forth. But starting next week, November, Ginger.
Twitter.
So you give us a detailed. The FDC, that I've read, no, let me ask my dear sister to read it for me. You may think the Honorable is, yes, this paragraph.
All three streets. The FDC will collaborate and cooperate with other democratic forces of change, structured registered groups, individuals, and volunteers, with opportunities for involvement at all levels of the political process during, post, and after elections.
Signed, Nandala. This is Nathan Nandala Mafai. By then he was Secretary General. In this strategic plan for 2022-2027. My signature is not there. Nandala saying we shall cooperate with all other change-seeking forces. Now is the one accusing us of selling FDC. No. Go back to the values of the party in Article 7.
Number 4.
Honesty. Honesty is one of the virtues, values of the party. That's why we are telling our brother, be honest, be true to yourself. You are the one who wrote this, that we shall cooperate with other forces seeking for democratic change. And indeed he was right. Because by nomenclature, the name FDC suggests what? Forces to change. Forum for democracy. It's a forum for forces of change. And we have time and again said the struggle to get this authority from a patrimonial is is not partisan. That struggle is not partisan. It's not exclusively for the FDC. It's not exclusively for NOP or for ANTI or for DPO, whichever party. It's a collective effort. And this is why we are telling you, in all this, we shall be cooperating with the other forces of change, including the civil society, including religious leaders, even individuals who do not subscribe to any political formation. We need everybody on board to liberate this country. So, when we pursue that agenda, we are not willing the party to anywhere. We have drawn a line in the sand and said, look, those who want the status quo to remain, be on the other side of Museveni and the team. Those who want change, we are this side. Now let's engage. Let's take on one another. So that is it. The line is drawn in the sand. Let's assemble this side, take on. Mindful of our individual identity. Without losing our identity. We are the FDC. We are not going to dissolve the party. But we have to build the synergy. We have to build the bridges with other colleagues involved in the same struggle. That is another agenda we are pursuing at some stage, and I think here we need to deliberate on it. The formula we can adopt without necessarily killing the party, killing the identity of the party. How do we cooperate with other forces of change without extinguishing our entity, our identity? And on that note, the rest I think is for discussion. I just wanted to highlight those particular issues and generate debate along those lines.